A combined valuation of $1.25 trillion. Let that number sink in for a second. Hey everyone, I'm Lynn. Today we're not talking about quarterly earnings beats or short term stock swings. We're talking about something far bigger, something structural, something that could redraw the boundaries of your portfolio over the next 18 months. Last week, a diagram went viral on X. It showed what people called Musk's endgame trilogy. Most treated it as internet speculation. But if you hold Tesla stock, this is not gossip. This is a quiet reconstruction of the foundation under your investment. And the real question is not whether you should buy Tesla. The real question is this: are you investing in a car company, or are you investing in a man building an empire? Let's start with the first move. 4 days ago, SpaceX officially merged with xAI. The combined entity now carries a valuation of $1.25 trillion. SpaceX at $1 trillion. xAI at $250 billion. This is no longer theoretical. xAI is now a wholly owned subsidiary of SpaceX. Musk describes this as vertical integration of innovation. Let me translate that into plain English. Rockets, satellites, AI models, compute infrastructure, and the X social platform, all inside one legal entity. Now many people asked, why use stock for stock instead of cash? 3 reasons. First, tax deferral. Original xAI shareholders avoid triggering capital gains taxes as long as they don't sell. Second, debt avoidance. xAI recently raised around $20 billion. Those financing agreements come with restrictive covenants. A cash acquisition could have triggered complications. Stock exchange sidesteps them. Third, control preservation. Musk already holds significant voting power in both companies. By merging via stock, he maintains near total dominance in the new structure. Now here's where it gets interesting for Tesla shareholders. In January, Tesla invested $2 billion into xAI at a $50 billion valuation. That gave Tesla roughly 4% ownership, but once xAI was folded into SpaceX at a $1.25 trillion combined valuation, Tesla's indirect stake shrank to about 0.16%. On paper, that looks like dilution. But here's the deeper shift. When you bought Tesla, you thought you owned ground assets: cars, batteries, factories, robots. Now, a thin pipe quietly connects your Tesla shares to orbital infrastructure. It's small, but it exists. And if Musk wants to widen that pipe, he can. Now let's move to the second move. This one is nuclear. SpaceX is reportedly preparing for a June 2026 IPO. Target valuation, $1.5 trillion. Target raise, $50 billion. If successful, this becomes the largest IPO in human history. Alibaba raised $25 billion. Saudi Aramco raised $29 billion. Musk wants 50. But here's the key question. Does he actually need the cash? Starlink generates billions annually. SpaceX reportedly holds hundreds of millions in liquidity. xAI just raised massive capital. He does not need money. He needs acquisition currency. Public stock is not just equity. It is paper you can exchange for real assets. Google used stock to acquire YouTube. Facebook used stock to absorb Instagram and WhatsApp. If SpaceX goes public at $1.5 trillion, its shares become the hardest acquisition currency on Earth. Now ask yourself, who is big enough to justify that weapon? Prediction markets currently estimate a 12 to 24% probability that SpaceX could eventually acquire Tesla. That sounds low. In M&A terms, it's enormous. Let's walk through the math. Tesla recently traded around $397. Add a 20% premium, that's roughly $476. Add 50%, around $595. Tesla's market cap sits around $1.27 trillion. At even modest premium levels, you're looking at a $1.5 to $2 trillion acquisition. How does SpaceX afford that? Stock swap. No cash required. Imagine one Tesla share exchanged for one SpaceX share post IPO. Your Tesla stock disappears. You now own a piece of a vertically integrated space AI empire. That is not a transaction. That is species mutation. You go from EV investor to orbital infrastructure shareholder overnight. Why structure it as SpaceX acquiring Tesla instead of merging as equals? 2 reasons. First, regulatory simplicity. 2 public giants merging triggers SEC review, shareholder votes, antitrust scrutiny, possibly CFI US involvement due to SpaceX defense contracts. That could take years. But if SpaceX IPOs first, then launches an acquisition offer, the path becomes shorter. Second, control. Musk currently owns roughly 13% of Tesla. He has openly stated he wants at least 25% voting power to confidently push AI integration. He learned a lesson when a Delaware judge blocked his compensation package. His authority has limits. SpaceX is his stronghold. If SpaceX swallows Tesla and the exchange ratio is engineered carefully, Musk's voting power in the new entity could surge above 25%. That would give him structural dominance. Now, pause. If that day comes, what would you do? Celebrate the premium and exit, or worry about becoming a small fish inside a colossal empire? Because this is bigger than a merger. This is about who controls valuation power for the next 50 years. Now let's zoom out. There are three possible scripts. Script 1, friendly acquisition. Shareholders vote, premium paid, smooth transition. Script 2, hostile takeover. If Tesla's board resists, Musk could bypass them and make a direct tender offer to retail investors. Legally complex, politically explosive, but not impossible. Script 3, the shadow empire. No formal merger, but operational integration deepens. Tesla uses xAI models. xAI trains on X data. Starlink hosts compute infrastructure. Tesla batteries power orbital data centers. Boundaries blur. You think you own Tesla. In reality, you own a node in Musk's ecosystem. Now let's talk about the real motive. Musk once had a compensation structure tied to Tesla reaching $8.5 trillion in market cap. At current growth trajectories, that seems unreachable, unless the valuation framework itself changes. If Tesla stops being priced as a car company and starts being priced as a civilization platform, everything changes. Toyota produces 10 million vehicles annually and holds a 300 billion market cap. Tesla produces under 2 million and sits above 1 trillion. Why? Because Wall Street prices Tesla not on wheels, but on FSD, AI, robotics, energy storage. Now imagine rockets and satellites added to that equation. That is valuation framework collapse. Musk is not digging a moat. He is buying the entire casino. Rockets launch satellites. Satellites transmit AI data. AI drives vehicles. Vehicles generate energy storage needs. Energy storage supports launch infrastructure. Closed loop. No competitor can sit at that table. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Traditional investing assumes companies have clean boundaries. Musk's companies do not. They are cross-wired. You think you are buying Tesla stock. You are buying an entry ticket into a human empire experiment. Now let me simplify it. Think of Musk's structure as a three-layer tower. Layer 1, ground layer, Tesla, cars, batteries, subscription revenue, cash flow. Layer 2, orbital layer, SpaceX and Starlink. Launch systems, satellites, infrastructure. Layer 3, data and compute layer, xAI and X platform, models, training data, intelligence. All three combined define the real entity. Now here are 4 questions. First, did you buy Tesla for the financial statements or for Musk? Second, if compute infrastructure becomes the dominant asset class of the next decade, are you comfortable staying only at the ground layer? Third, if offered a swap into orbital assets, how much exposure would you accept? Fourth, if Musk makes a catastrophic mistake, can your portfolio survive a 30% drawdown? These are not academic questions. If an acquisition offer appears, you will have 30 to 60 days to decide. And that decision will not be about valuation models. It will be about belief. Prediction markets say 12 to 24% probability of a deal by June. Low, but not zero. Step 1 has happened. xAI merged into SpaceX. Step 2 is approaching. SpaceX IPO. Step 3 remains open. The real question is not whether it happens. The real question is, when it happens, where will you stand inside the tower? Let me know in the comments. If SpaceX knocks on your door and offers to swap your Tesla shares, do you accept or reject, and why? If you like this video, please subscribe. I'm Lynn. See you next time.